So there were actually two aliens, the face hugger that died mysteriously and the stomach piercer which had to grow up quickly because, its parents were dead. Technically there were even more aliens than that if you count the unhatched eggs, though really, since the humans went to their home, the humans would have been alien to them. In any case, it's an inaccurate title. Now I'm not sure I'd say spoilers, because this film came out in 1979, so if you haven't seen it by now, I'm just going to go ahead and assume that you're probably not going to. That being said, spoilers, yeah. Now, Alien is a science fiction horror movie that's set in a future where smoking is still allowed indoors and we still have CRT monitors. In this video, I'm just going to be going over some of the thoughts I have on the film and its characters. Well, not much is known about Kane because, well, he dies too quickly, but what we do know is that he was the first to wake up, the first to die, and perhaps just a little bit too curious for his own good. The rest was pretty much Parker's lackey. He just agreed with everything he said, which is something that is actually pointed out in the film. But I'm not convinced that is from low self-esteem. Parker kind of came across as the lead arsehole of the crew, which he kind of acknowledges in The Running Man when he tells Arnie he didn't want to be the only asshole in hell. By the way, do you ever notice how when film critics analyze a film, they always reference another film that has next to nothing to do with the film that they're analyzing in a way that tells you absolutely nothing about the film they're talking about? Dallas was a false leader really when bringing Kane back. The rule was to be quarantined for at least 24 hours, yet he was still doing his Babadook impression. Let me in! But also he had no real authority because, as he put it, standard procedure is to do what they tell you to do. Referring to the company. The company, as it turns out, is Wayland Corporation, though they're not actually mentioned by name in this film. Now, Ash being an android placed on board by the company technically does not have a character, it just has programming. That being said, its programming was a little bit screwy. When Ripley wanted to go after the crew when discovering that a signal was a warning and not an SOS, Ash responded, "What's the point?" Now you might be thinking, sure, he had ulterior motives, of course he's going to have some awkward response, and yes, it did. But it also was supposed to blend in with humans, thus being put in the sleeping pod. But snapping, "What's the point?" doesn't seem like a typical human response. Well, here's the thing. When Ripley finds out about Ash's Special Order 937, we get a little inkling as to why Ash's programming might not have been as on fleek as it should have been. Priority 1. Ensure return of organism. That should be ensure, not insure. They're two different things, but considering that Ripley used a misspelled version of overrides to access that information in the first place, it kind of begs the question, what else did the company go foobar with? A little bit more about Parker because reasons. He does heroically, sorta, trying to save Lambert. But he kept talking about the bonus situation, the bonus situation. What about a bonus situation? Let's talk about a bonus situation. Now's a good time to talk about a bonus situation. The bonus situation, the bonus situation, the bonus. Now, considering that Ash pointed out that it was in their agreements to investigate possible life forms with the penalty of losing all pay if they did not, something that Parker didn't seem to know, it would suggest that Parker agrees to do a job without reading the contract. Now, when you're signing something and somebody makes that joke about, "You're signing your life away," it's not always a joke. Always read a contract, always read the small print, always read the terms and conditions, or you just might find yourself on a commercial vehicle being chased by a killer alien. It can happen. Not really a whole lot I can say about Lambert. She's a pretty quiet character that cried a lot. I was actually quite surprised she survived as long as she did. The parts where Parker tries to rescue her, if that was me, I would have left her there, man. I would have been like, yo, obviously it's your time to go, so I'm out of here, sister. Okay, thanks, bye. But I'll give her props. She actually had the best idea about taking her chances on the shuttle. And now Ripley, she showed natural leadership, wasn't afraid to question things, dug a little deeper into the secrecy behind the expedition, and in the end she outsmarted the alien. She was pretty badass. So what Alien effectively is a drama in a small space. The film makes at least a few references to confinement, from the sleeping pods to narrow conduits to the shuttle not being big enough to take 4 people, and of course the crew being out in space in a commercial towing vehicle. By the way, that shuttle was easily big enough for 4 people. That thing could fit the whole crew in. I mean, maybe there wasn't enough seats for everyone, but in a situation like that, if you have to stand or sit on the floor, it can be done. Anyway, on top of the claustrophobia, it adds xenophobia, specifically fear of the unknown. The crew have been flown off course unbeknownst to themselves. They have to investigate a transmission of unknown origin, and then they have to defend themselves against an unknown creature. And from that, throughout the film, with the exception of Ash, who's an android, and Kane, who, dies too soon, we get examples of each crew member behaving irrationally, which can be rooted in that fear. I mentioned earlier about Dallas demanding to be admitted back to the Nostromo against protocol, also Ripley wanting the facehugger gotten rid of when it died, Parker who wanted to kill the alien out of anger, and then Lambert who was just an emotional wreck. Anyway, but this is normal. Humans are ultimately emotional and illogical beings as much as we try to think otherwise. Now, Broken Ash said that the alien is unclouded by conscience, remorse, or delusions of morality. Now, before I continue, I just want to point out that it has been a good long while since I've watched the Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, and Alien vs Predator. I just pretend that doesn't even exist. So if there was anything in those films explained about alien behavior, then, well, I've truly forgotten it. But that doesn't matter too much because this is the first film. I want to stick to what's in this film specifically. But to Ash's statement about being unclouded by conscience, remorse, or delusions of morality, that may not strictly speaking be true. Now, I'm not saying it isn't true, but unless Ash had some prior knowledge of the alien, there isn't really enough to know that for fact. And it doesn't seem likely that Ash had some prior knowledge about the alien because its Special Order 937 was to investigate its life form, gather specimen, and then Priority 1, ensure return for analysis, which would suggest that there is still much unknown about the alien. So this is what I think of the alien behavior. He's a lost little boy looking for his mummy. Now, I know I made a joke earlier about the alien having to grow up fast because his parents were dead, but there could be some truth to that. I mean, this is a creature that had to fend for itself in a foreign, hostile environment with no allies. Well, Ash was kind of an ally, but alien might not have known that. So in essence, he was just trying to survive to make a comfortable life for himself, and I think that's something we could all understand. Now, that being said, in Prometheus, they do say the alien was some kind of weapon, which is probably why they received a warning and not an SOS. So the whole thing about being unclouded by conscience, remorse, or delusions of morality, turns out that's actually pretty accurate. But removing Prometheus and just looking at Alien on its own, I think my analysis holds up quite well. Anyway, shout out to Jones the cat for clearly being much smarter than the rest of the crew. First off, Jones didn't get involved with the exploration, he stayed his ass out of it. He knew to hide from the alien, and when Brett came looking for him, notice how Jones just casually backs away. And when the alien kills Brett, notice how Jones is looking at him like, better you than me, mate. Jones, by the way, is a tomcat, so Tom Jones. In conclusion, cats are better than people, and one day they'll enslave us all. And that is what I think of Alien. If you liked this video, give it a like and share it amongst your friends. If you did not like it, then give it a dislike and share it amongst your enemies. Either way, let me know your reasons in the comments. Subscribe if you have not already. Thank you for watching, and until whenever, if ever, I can't lie about your chances, but you have my sympathies. Listen, you tell me to surprise you, I'm going to meet you at the train station, we're going to the nearest chicken shop, we get a family meal, I'll pay because I'm a gentleman, I'll walk you to your bus stop, and then I'm going to send you home.